right. Welcome again to the Fold Mysteries, where we discover everything that lies between the folds of reality. Um, so this is episode number 2, kind of exciting. Chad, how has your week been? Have you got any exciting news in paranormal Bigfoot mystery world? You got to unmute.
Now, can
There
you
you
hear
go.
me?
Yes.
Nothing terribly exciting, other than we have a great guest today. It's pretty exciting.
Yes, that is exciting. I agree. But I do have some exciting news. I just found a brand new paranormal location near me that I have just became aware of. So I plan on checking that out hopefully throughout the rest of this week and this weekend. I'm going to go during the daytime, kind of scope the area out, scope the terrain out, kind of see what I'm up against as far as like cliff edges and stuff. And then try to do like a little overnight investigation if it's allowed. So I got to figure out the rules in this area. But yes, you're right. We have an exciting guest with us today. I'm going to head and bring you in. We are going to be speaking with Bob Lemle, aka Diesel. So, Bob is a retired truck driver. He is a father of 5 children and a grandfather of 4 grandsons. That's a lot of boys. He's an outdoorsman who likes to camp, fish, and hunt. And Bob got into the cryptid scene after a strange experience that he had in the woods in 1989. Since this, he has had 3 additional sightings and many other encounters. Bob also has a YouTube channel that's titled Bigfoot Recon, where he shares his adventures with others and wants to provide those who can't get out into the woods the opportunity to feel like they're right there with him. So I think that's pretty cool. So, Bob, tell us a little bit about your first experience if you want to go into that. Do you feel like that's something you want to go into?
Yeah, I'm into it. That was back in '89, and that was not. It was Manistee National Forest area. It was outside Lake City, Michigan, and it was first of October. And my brother and I were deer hunting on his father-in-law's property, and I thought I was in this cool little spot, man, because I had my tree stand set up. I had this wild apple tree, so I was, looking at that. Well, I was all set up to, deer, apples, kind of a given there. Well, I was hearing noise behind me, so in the way I was positioned, I was able to kind of turn my left and look over my shoulder into this little clearing, and what I thought was a bear shaking a poplar tree, and it was just shaking it. Well, sun hit it, because it was in the morning, and I noticed it had a grip on the tree, and I was like, "Well, that's not a bear." And everybody's first reaction is me, because the idiot I am. I started laughing. This is 7 o'clock in the morning. And I realized it was a Bigfoot, and it's 5 foot tall, so I'm figuring juvenile. And my brother, he was further in the woods. He saw it. He thought it was me. I thought it was him at first, but then I realized what it was. And it was cool. I turned my head because I heard the noise towards the apple tree, and I looked back, and it was gone. But it was, that was cool. That was my first sighting. But before that, I was in Manistee area, and I went for a ride, had lunch out in the middle of the Manistee between Boone and Harrietta, Michigan. And I was in the middle of Manistee Forest, and power lines. You know how they clear cut along the power lines?
Mm-hmm.
And it was rolling hills and everything. It was really nice, really pretty, sunny. So I dropped tailgate my truck, and I'm sitting there, and I started hearing these noises, and it almost sounded like elk. And I thought, well, no, wait, it can't be elk because they're on the other side of the state. Back in '89, and I thought, well, I know there's game farms around this area, but then I thought, I'm way too far back into the Manistee National Forest for that to be, you know. And I heard it again. I'm like, that's not an elk. And I didn't know what it was, but that's what truly got me started. You know, and it's, you know, and as, you know, years went on and popularity, I mean, I've always been into it. I mean, I've always believed, ever since I saw the Patterson Gimlin video on TV, back when TVs were a piece of furniture, you know, anybody remember those days?
Yeah.
You know, but that, my experiences, yeah, it came on, and now I'm retired and I don't deer hunt anymore. And yeah, I've had, you know, 3 sightings, official sightings this time. The first one I told you about, and a few years later, not far from you, Glenn. I mean, in Tar Hollow, and you know where that's
Wow,
at.
yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
that
actually kind of a hot spot.
is becoming a hot spot. But any rate, if you've ever been there, I was camping in the horseman's camp, because in that part of Ohio during the gun season, you're allowed to camp railroad for free. So right there is a valley where you walk in, and you walk in, maybe half a mile back, and then it splits off this way. And so I got where it split, and I went up on the shelf and set up my blind and everything. And opening day morning, I'm sitting there, and I watched this. It was big. It was 9 foot, man. It was big red one, big. Oh my god, it was big. And you know, as the crow flies, because I was on top of one ridge and in the valley, and he was on the other side walking across. I maybe 125 yards. And if you walked it, probably 300. You know, you got to walk down and walk back up. And yeah, he was definitely the alpha, man. That one made me nervous. I was, you know, I was nervous, you know. But yeah, that just really got me going. And then just recently, probably 3 years ago, back when I was a truck driver and I did line haul at night, which means I'd take freight from what people picked up during the day, put it on my trailer, and I would take it down to Columbus, Ohio, and then they would distribute it to wherever it had to go in the state of Ohio. Well, in the corner of the company's lot is the Wabash Trail Walk goes through, which was a train track that they converted over to hiking trail. In the far back corner is a set of woods, and the trail was in there, and I was pulling out of the lot, and so the truck is in the back side. And I was turning out, and I didn't even have the whole trailer out in the road yet. I looked down the trail, and there it was, standing there. Perfect silhouette. But that was probably 100 yards, and it was right on the edge of the tree, so it was just a black silhouette, you know, and that was pretty big. That was probably 8 foot tall. That was a big one, too. I mean, I might have seen him a 4th time, but I don't know. It was closer. It was on the same trail, and about a year later, he was punched over like he's picking up something. But that's inconclusive. You know, I don't want to, you know, say, you know. To be honest with you, driving truck, I've seen a lot of weird things between here and Columbus. I saw a black panther twice on Route 31 on the way to Columbus. Ran across in front of me. And about a year later, I'm assuming the same one, because in the same general area, same thing again. It's like, wow, I don't know, just cool. But
That is really cool. I actually did want to ask you a question about your first sighting. Now, you said you saw that thing actually grabbing a tree and shaking
yeah,
it. How far away were you from it when you saw it?
30 yards.
Really? So that's not
Yeah,
far at all. Yeah,
no,
not
not at
terribly
all.
far.
So yeah, it was like I said, when I first started, I was laughing. I mean, that was '89. I was young, and I've been in the woods. Oh, well, always. I mean, I was raised in Cincinnati. 10 years old, we moved back up to Toledo, but we were from Toledo. And my parents always had a cabin in Michigan, Carroll County, if you know where that at.
I do.
Out in Harris, Michigan, if you know where
I do.
Harrison, Michigan, and the place Dodge.
Very remote. Very remote.
Not so much anymore, but you know.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend of
Ezra
mine.
would like to know if you were
Oh,
scared when you had any of your sightings.
what was that again? I'm sorry.
Ezra would like to know if you were scared when you had any of your sightings.
The second one, the one there in Tar Hollow, that he was huge, and you know, and what scared me was because I was kind of getting into it then. And I don't know if anybody else notices this. You know, my goofy Bigfoot stuff. You know, from what I've experienced and what I've been told from other people, it seems like the big red ones are the more aggressive ones out of the Bigfoot. I don't know if any notices that or heard that or not. What I have noticed, you know, from talking to other people and my experience, they're just Bigfoot with attitude. But
that's interesting.
The first one it was cool. But like I said, you know, early morning, you know, it's like early morning in the woods, you know, and it's 1st October, and then you know we just kind of get the light comes in because, like I said, where the apple tree was in front of there, the guy had a Christmas tree farm. Being Chad and I'm talking about, you know, these all over the place in Michigan, the way tobacco fields were, good part of the state when, okay, and they cut them down. So there was just that spot where the Christmas trees were and the apple trees. Think of it kind of shaped like the state of Pennsylvania and how the state has a little panhandle goes up to Lake Erie. So that's where the Christmas tree was. Well, behind me, was a clearing that was a transaction from the pines into the hardwoods. And that's where the poplar was, and that's where he was taking it. But it was enough that when the daylight hit it, just right, you could see. And it's like, okay, wow.
So
By that time,
did you mention the color of the first one? I think you said the first one maybe it was black. Is that what you said?
the first one, yeah, it was a little black, about 5 foot tall, juvenile, had to
Oh,
be.
okay. So it wasn't even that big. Yeah.
That's why I thought it was a bear. I just
Wow.
figured it was a Michigan black bear.
Did it appear like it had hair or fur? Did it have like any like describable?
The way the light struck it, it was blue black. You understand what I'm doing? I think
No, that's totally normal. Yep.
Tiny blue black, and you know, it was actually really pretty looking. It wasn't scraggly. You know, bears are their hair is a lot more coarse. You know, this was just a nice shiny blue black. And I don't know why I was shaking the poplar tree. There's nothing in a poplar tree for them.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it was just like I said. I just turned my head and turned back, and boom, gone.
Wow.
Like, wow.
So it's fast. Yeah, I wonder if the tree shaking tends to be more of like a dominating sort of thing. And coming from a juvenile, probably trying to find his place, that, could explain it. It is curious.
Maybe I don't know. I kind of agree with you on that. I don't know. You know, I mean, kids mimic what their parents do. But then again, you know, it was just the one 5 foot tall. I don't know. How would you estimate a 5 foot tall Bigfoot would be?
5 foot?
Probably maybe a yearling.
I don't know. You know,
I would imagine
that was
if I were to guess.
That was something I would like to bring up in a round table type discussion there. So I don't know, but
That's a good question. Yeah. Because it depends on like how fast they grow. I imagine they grow, relatively quickly. Maybe not. Um, I do have a question for you though. So when you go out into the field before you've had some of your sightings, have you ever noticed particular sounds or smells like before, during, or after your experiences?
You know, I catch myself a lot thinking about that because, I spent a lot of time up in Clark County, Michigan. During summers, that's where we were. That's where I spent my summers and stuff. So I was always on the woods, and even always hearing birds at night. Now, I know there's whippoorwills, and I do know birds will something from they're going to chirp, something like that. But just hearing birds chirping at night, that to me is kind of like, you know. But other sounds, not really, because I'm accustomed to foxes. Foxes make some weird noises. A fox makes weird. A lot of people. I'm not going to mention his name, but I've come across. I heard Bigfoot. I don't know. I heard a fox. And I'm not putting nobody down. Because there's people don't have. Gwen, you grew up. You're a more rural girl. I'm at more agricultural. Chad, I'm sorry from where you're at. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
You're all right.
And like another fact that people don't owls. Owls are another one that makes a really wild sound.
Wait, you're leaving out porcupines.
Yes. Oh, porcupines.
Porcupines are crazy. The stuff they do in the woods when they get around people.
Yeah.
Oh no, they make weird noise.
Whack them with a blanket just so I can get some of those quills.
They're when they do their jaw chomping and stuff and that huffing noise they
make. And they'll tear up a tree too.
Gwendolyn was with us in Pennsylvania when we're going on these railroad tracks, and all of a sudden we're hearing every now and then this huffing at us, and then I figured out it was porcupines. Like they'd hear us and they'd like alert the others, and they go. And
here's an oddball fact for you. There's only one reported porcupine in the state of Ohio. Gwendolyn, have you ever seen one? I've never seen one.
Never seen a porcupine in Ohio. Never.
There's one reported in Ashtabula, which is the furthest north.
They're pretty common in Pennsylvania where we were.
Yeah, I see more there in Pennsylvania than I do in Michigan.
Yeah, I would imagine if we had porcupines in Ohio, they would have to be pretty far up north, I would assume.
Right.
Yeah, Ezra did have a question. I didn't want to miss it. You already said you kind of didn't hear any sounds, so you no knocks or vocalizations either. Have you ever picked up on that?
Yeah, I've heard some knocks and I've heard some whoops. Breaking tree branches. A few weeks ago, if you remember, I went camping with my grandson Jaden. Hi, Jaden. Love you, son. Sorry about the shout out.
Hi, Jaden.
And we're again at the group camp there at Salt Fork. You know what I'm talking about. And where I was, right behind me, I was on the north side of the campground, and kind of dropped. You can hear there was something back and busting stiff. I had other people coming up and, did you hear that? I'm sitting there listening to it. Said, yeah, and I'm sitting there, people are like, oh, did you hear that? Me, I'm sitting there thinking, well, I guess I should get up, maybe hook up my parabolic mic and grab my digital recorder and play with it. But, that's just me, man. But yeah, I've heard, I've heard him make all kinds of weird stuff. And there's stuff I heard I can't explain. So maybe that was Bigfoot because, people say that they mimic other sounds. So.
Yeah, that's true. And Ezra says also that she has heard that birds will go quiet if there is something crazy around.
She is totally correct.
Yeah, I've experienced that myself, and it's an eerie silence too. It's like you just know you better pay attention.
Gwendolyn, it's not just birds, bugs, frogs, all that. When things come around, all of a sudden they'll be just going nuts, and all of a sudden, just the whole woods goes quiet, and that's
dead calm. It's like a dead calm. Yeah, I've experienced that. It's like,
Yeah.
do you kind of get like the hair in the back of your neck kind of rise up a little bit?
Mhm.
It's kind
Oh yeah.
of
And on
like,
the hair on my arms, back of my neck, just that just eerie chills.
yeah.
As her said, she was curious that when you said you saw Bigfoot and it just disappeared, were there any signs left behind, like footprints, broken branches? That's a good question. Did you go out and check for anything like that?
The first one, no, because I didn't really think about it. I was wow, that was '89. How old was I? I graduated in
That's
'80.
understandable. That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Now
I mean,
I
I
would be
wouldn't have thought of it.
all over it. But up there, you got there's a lot of leaf litter.
Yeah.
I'm
When
going,
when it's your first experience too, you tend to like not think about things like that. You're just like, huh, that was weird. And you kind of move on, or it spooks you and then you just don't want to go check. So your first experience, it's easy to not really think about doing that kind of thing.
well, that was when I heard those, that bugling type. You know, I I didn't think of it. I wasn't really into it then. My first two experience, I was deer hunting, and I mean, that's hunting and fishing. That's all I thought about. Hunting, fishing cars. That was me back then, And as I got older, I've always been into the cryptids, the Bigfoot, the dog, all the stuff. I've grown up. I love the old traditional monster movies. I mean, my favorite monster movie was The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And if you think about it now, with all these weird cryptids, out of all those old monster movies, is it me or is that one more realistic than all the rest?
Way
I
to
just,
age yourself, Robert.
and,
Way to age yourself.
yes, it is. But here I'm still in my late 20s. So,
So
Yes.
like 1972, I think, is when the Creature of the Black Lagoon came out.
I was way before then. But no, and my thing like UFOs. I mean, I'm open to it all. I've seen enough weird things in the sky. I mean, I was a truck driver at night for almost 30 years, so and it just paranormal. I was doing that for 10 years before I really got into cryptozoology, and that's I've seen some really weird stuff. Again, I've seen some weird stuff down not far from where Woodland lives. There, East Fork. You know where East Fork is?
I
Yeah.
don't.
There, there's a little old Bethel, and it's on the south side of the park. And you turn up the old Bethel. I think it's Old Bethel Road. It goes up into East Fork Park. Well, there's a little church house there, and the church house had this little graveyard. Just so happens President Grant's grandparents are buried in this graveyard.
Wow,
And
that's interesting.
I saw a shadow man there. That freaked me out. I yelled at it. I'm not
That's
going to say what
wild.
it's called, but maybe
Was you
north
there
of there.
looking for something? Or
We were,
was you just come across the graveyard and saw it?
no, we were there. We were there for a reason. We were both hunting. I mean,
Oh,
I don't have them anymore. My kids, my 5 kids, man. They're not here, but I have some really great pictures from there. And down the street is a big Indian burial mound, and it's surrounded by split rail fence. I got some really fabulous photos from there too.
So,
That'd be a
so
great
Bob,
area as well. There's Bigfoot there, and you got the paranormal. So much history down by where
Mhm.
Wonderland is. So much history. So fascinating.
what I want to bring up is that's not necessarily Bigfoot. So you are into other paranormal
If it's
things.
creepy and weird, sure, why not? I mean, can
So
you
what do
think
you
of a
think
better
some of this stuff
example for us?
is?
Do what?
What do you think some of this stuff is? I mean, it's not all Bigfoot. You've already described
Well, you know what?
other
I think,
circumstances that weren't. I mean,
well, I think Bigfoot is basically flesh and blood. I have not experienced any of the supernatural or anything. I'm open to it. I don't put nobody down for it, but I don't think they just vanish into thin air. I don't think they walk through portals. I don't, do they have telepathy? I don't know. Do they have infrasound? Yes, they do. All predator, animals do. Even giraffes have it.
well,
The paranormal goes,
I
yeah.
can't I can't argue infrasound, Bob, but what I don't believe it's infrasound. I believe it's EMF. I can't prove I'm right, but I can't argue infrasound isn't also correct. I believe it's something a little more powerful. I believe it's EMF, and that's just
You
my
know,
opinion. What do you think about that? Do you think it could possibly not be a sound wave, but a
what
electromagnetic
I
frequency?
I carry an EMF meter with me when I go in the woods.
Have you got any
You know,
readings when you're having like Bigfoot encounters,
yeah,
or is it not you not had it available when you had one?
I have not. I haven't had it a lot of times, but I haven't. I, why I started taking it? It wasn't so much that. I don't know why. I have this weird thing. I don't care where I go in the woods. I always find that old, creepy ass cemetery in the middle of the woods. Sorry about that. I always find these old creepy cemeteries. So I say, hey, check an EMF meter while I'm there. Might as well play with that too. I'm open to it all. I don't think, like I said, I think, like I said, I think they're flesh and blood. Again, it's just, you guys know what, it's all theory and speculation. When do I
Yeah.
have a question?
Well, actually, I was gonna say, it's kind of cool that you bring some of your ghost equipment with you when you go out to the field to research Bigfoot, because
Mhm.
I've actually kind of mixed investigations before. And I brought my ghost equipment to a Bigfoot location and just decided I would bring it out and start asking any possible spirits that are around about Bigfoot. And I started getting some curious responses on my ghost equipment about where Bigfoot could possibly be. Because I said, what we're out here looking for? It said Bigfoot. I said, where I can find Bigfoot? And it said, go east. And then it kind of got kind of jumbled after that, but it was a really cool experience. I was like, felt like I was getting help from the spirits to help find Bigfoot. And that was actually the same location where we got surrounded by Bigfoot. So it was definitely a hot spot. So, it's kind of cool to mix investigations there and see what happens.
Where was that at?
Berea, Kentucky.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything's possible. Like I said, I don't think they vanish. This is just my theory. I learned in the paranormal that your mind will mess with you. It'll fill in the gap, and I could be wrong. I'm not a scientist, man. I'm a truck driver. I use common sense and logic. But what I'm getting is, I think your mind, whatever you believe in, like say, if you're into the monsters, or you're into sci-fi, or
Mhm.
you're the paranormal, go. That's where your mind is going to fill in the blank at what Bigfoot is. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm just saying that's just because I'm flesh and blood. I have
I
not experienced
Bob,
any
I
of that.
believe you're right. Power of suggestion is so huge in any type of paranormal investigation. Because if you have something on your mind and something happens, your first instinct is to attribute it to what you're looking for. And it's huge. And a lot of people make mistakes with power of suggestion, especially Bigfoot researchers that are out in the woods and they hear a porcupine or they hear a fox or they hear a bunch
Well,
of turkeys flying through
yeah.
the woods. And
I
so,
could be wrong 'cause, like, when they vanish. I don't. what I think they do is, I'm a firm believer that I think they drop to the ground, they spider crawl. I mean, look at it this way, because you both have been in the woods enough to know. I'll use a deer, for example. Okay. What's the color of a deer? Kind of a nice, pretty light brown, right? Right? You agree?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you see a deer in the woods, do they kind of take on a grayish tint to you?
It depends on sunlight and the background colors, and yes, they can. Yeah, they're achromatic. They have they have hollow hair, so they can absorb and reflect colors, lights, and
exactly. Well, my point is, like, how many times have you looked at deer and just kind of just glanced off, looked back, and where'd they go? They're not gone, because if they were to took off, you would have heard them through the woods. They just took a few steps, and I think most animals in the forest do this. I believe Bigfoot do it. They're stealthy. They learn to adapt to their habitat, to their terrain. They blend in with their surroundings.
So,
how many times have you heard people say, "Oh, it was standing, as still as a statue"? Well,
we're halfway through, and I have a very controversial question, if you don't mind.
I like controversy,
and I do too, and I'm confused about it as much as you are. But there are people out there that are good friends of yours, mine, Gwendolyn's, that claim portaling, dimension hopping, portal, touching portals, alien, and all that. Could this be an explanation or not? Now, am I saying it is? No, but it's something I have to question after over 20 years of researching this. Is there something more out there? Can they really change a dimension? Can they really hop in a portal?
Honestly, I don't know. Again, I haven't experienced it, but I like this question. We'll start with the UFO.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with the UFO, we'll start there. Okay, this is how I'm going to put this. Okay, are Bigfoot not supposed to be inquisitive? Are they not supposed to? I mean, how many stories have you heard where camping, they hear kids, women, whatever, and they're curious. They're just checking out. They're just checking out. So now, UFOs. This is just my theory, my speculation. I don't. If you're sitting in your house and it's 10 o'clock at night, it's dark, and all of a sudden you look out the window and it's like daylight outside, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you going to be curious and go outside to see what's causing that light?
I would be.
Yeah. The Bigfoot is, the dominant predator. It fears nothing. It is the alpha. Yeah. Don't you think that because it's an inquisitive, curious being, whatever you want to call it, that's going to look up at the UFO and be like you and I and say, what the hell is that? Think about it. I mean, that's the way I look at it, okay? And as for, again, the portal, no, I think that's shock and awe. Again, I think they use the foliage, the ground cover, they drop on all fours, spider crawl out of there. Infrasound, yes. Telepath, I don't know. Here's the thing. Out of all of the million documented creatures on this planet, why are they the only one that has all these supernatural powers? Why are they the only ones that
wait, Robert, are they the only one with supernatural powers?
I don't know. People try to say
okay, hang on. I want you to hear me out a second. I want to explain powers that people can't understand. Okay, whales and dolphins, their ability to communicate through thousands of miles and use their sound to communicate with us. Okay, that's just minor. What about bats? Okay, a blind creature that can fly effortlessly through the sky. Millions of them can come out of a cave and not crash into each other, but none of them can see because they're just going through what you want to call infrasound, that I call EMF. Well, here, let's do other ones. How about elephants? How about elephants knowing where the graveyard is and they all return to it? I mean, it's scientifically proven out in Africa where the massive graveyards are, the elephants go and then they mourn their dead. Okay. It's an animal. Is it supposed to have human feelings like us that mourn? Dogs, cats. I mean, think about it. It's all right in front of your face. Creatures have certain abilities, and certain creatures are on a different spectrum than we are. Okay, amphibians. Look at frogs and snakes. A snake is damn near blind. It senses heat and smells through its tongue. Is that? I mean, come on. So,
I'm not God. I didn't design the creatures, but okay. Here's the thing: bats, whales, dolphins. They use sounds. Every animal adapts to their environment and their surroundings. Anyway, bats, whales, dolphins. They use sonar. It travels further in the water. That's why certain whales can squeak, squawk, click, whatever. Yeah, we can hear it. We can pick it up. But other whales can hear it thousands of miles away. We have the technology in submarines that does the same thing. We can hear them. Bats, they use sonar because they use the sound wave. It bounces back. They can tell where the little mosquitoes and stuff are flying. The whales, the elephants, it's like a salmon. It's instinctive. Dogs, I think all creatures will mourn a loss. All creatures, it's been scientific, have feelings to where they can feel things. I'm a fisherman, and I don't know, they say fish can feel a hook. But, all creatures feel pain. I mean, that's just animal instinct, I guess, I mean, as for like, it's instinctive, like a salmon. Maybe it's smell. I don't know. Why do salmon, walleye do the same thing? Migrate up the same stream every year, and it's just
to the exact same spot they were born.
Yes, and elephants do the same thing to go where they die. You know what? Speaking of that, because people say, "Oh, I've never seen a dead Bigfoot and bones of Bigfoot." Maybe they do the same thing. Maybe they got a special spot way back deep in the woods they go to when they know they're gonna, die. Like what an elephant does. I don't know. But because again, I'll say this again. I try to use common sense and logic. I don't have a PhD, man. I'm just a simple truck driver, but I try to keep, I don't know. And a lot of people, like you I think it was you the other day, about the weapon. Yeah, and I thought about that. Because when you brought it up the other day, that you had me a chance, give me a chance to think about that. But yeah, that's my theory, my speculation.
And I only brought it up, Robert, is because of the fact that all these creatures can do these things that science really can't totally explain. They come up with a lame ass explanation, but it's not the right one. And I'm trying to figure out why we can't find Bigfoot and why there's so many people out here that say they speak with them and that these creatures can teleport and cloak and they can go into these.
I think they probably traded. I think they did trade with the Native Americans, the indigenous. I'm sorry, I'm not politically correct.
Every Native American tribe recognizes a Bigfoot.
And I also think, here's why I think we don't see them. I think Bigfoot can reason. What other animal can reason? Maybe a dolphin, a whale, but humans can reason.
That's a great point because pretty much the only species on Earth that has the ability to reason are human beings. We have
Right.
reasoning, we have thought processes of consequence and outcome. And animals are very much instant gratification, reward based. You know,
I mean,
we are the only creatures that can reason. And with them having reason, leads you into the fact that they are probably very highly intelligent beyond and just an animal.
yeah, yeah, that's why I think they're more human than what you expect. But here's another thing: uh, why we don't see them. Um, because I said they can reason now. Okay, I'll just use this for an example before we answer everyone's question.
Hmm?
They seen white man kill. Think about this. Think about Gettysburg. I'll just use that for an example. How many thousands of lives had died in Gettysburg? Okay, the Bigfoot were there. They saw that. Okay, they saw us killing each other with to them fire sticks. So don't you think by that because they can reason? They're closer to. This is just again my theory, my speculation that with their children as they raise them, tell them, hey, basically stay away from the white man. They're dangerous. Doesn't that make sense? I mean, it makes sense to me. I know it's simple, but why make things complicated when you don't have to? That's how I think. That's why I think they know to stay away. Survival instinct. A lot of animals know. When we go into the woods, they're gone because they know what we're about. It's just,
Yeah. They see what we're
humans are
capable of all the time. Historically so.
I tell you what, I got a funny thing. When I go in the woods, like, and I've done this since hunting. I'll walk in so far, and I'll maybe find like a deadfall on the ground, something I can sit down, and I'll sit down, and I don't know if you want to call it meditate, but I try, because I'm just.
I call it projecting.
I try to become more like the wood. I'll sit there and I'll just, breathe in through my nose, exhale through my mouth, smell the earth, just trying to become one with my surroundings, And when I go and I walk, and I just, I try to clear head. I try not to put off a negative vibe, like That's like I get a lot of people asking, "You take your gun?" Because I have them. Do I take them? Most of the time, no. A lot of times, I just forget about taking them. Number two, it's a real pain because they're heavy, man. The gun. So I don't really take them out there. So I try to become one and turn positive with my surroundings, and then that's what I do. And I just try to, I don't go in there trying to, I'm going in being scientific. I'm not a scientist. I'm going in there. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to have a good time. I approach it like I'm going hunting. I go in the woods. Like, you ever notice on all these shows? Why? They're curious. Talk like we're talking now. That's what we do. With my buddy Todd and I, we go to a woods all the time. We're talking. We're turning around. My grandson, he's a little chatterbox. But,
So you acknowledge them, Robert, right? But
yes.
Ezra has a question. You acknowledge that they exist and they're a creature, a species. Do you think they're more animal or human? That's Ezra's question.
I think they're more human.
Okay.
Animals have fur. They have hair. They can reason like Ezra, like your mom and I said. They reason. I mean, so yeah, I think they're more human than any other creature. Again,
are you ready for this? Because this is way off the topic, bro. But Ezra, our biggest fan, has a question. Robert, Do you think UFOs are floating around to study us, or do you think they have found more technology than us?
Okay,
Or
you're
have,
okay.
not
We're
have
going
found.
to go that direction. Okay.
No, then Ezra,
No,
she's our biggest fan. The question's right at the bottom.
This is weird because I'm okay. I'm Christian. I'm going to admit that. Okay, I'm
So am I.
Christian. Okay, but the universe. Come on, man. We are not the only. I think that they have technology. I think become, study us. Even though I'm Christian, and this is going to be weird, and you're like, I think they're the reason we're here. Sort of, if I can say that, and still be, God's.
That's not very Christian-like, Robert.
I think they come here and study us. Do what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I agree with you, Robert. It's not very Christian-like, but I agree with you that we're just a hybrid. God's real, and God is alien.
Growing up, not growing up, when my kids were little, we were involved in church and stuff. And the church went through, it had this thing, called Brigade. It's kind of a Christian Boy Scout. Mm-hmm. And to me, to who I am, we went on a camp out with the boys. Okay? And the head pastor who ran this group, he was born again. That's kind of an oxymoron, is it? I don't know. He was born again. Okay? And he firmly believes if it's not in the Bible, it doesn't exist. Me, because, I'm a jerk. I'm like, well, what about the dinosaur footprint? In Texas, they got petrified dinosaur footprints with modern man footprints next to them. So you're saying, oh, nope, that's not in the Bible. And then me thinking, here's how, okay, well, are we not the image of God? Yes. Okay. Apparently, God has a sense of humor. Okay. Who's to say that, I just simplified it. Who's to say that God doesn't have a big pile of plasticine and he's molding, he made the amoebas and all that, whatever. I'm going to put them all together. And all of a sudden, he made the fish. Oh, these are cool. Hey, check this out. Put legs on. They walked out of the water. Creates dinosaurs.
You're talking about the theory of evolution. You're talking about the theory of evolution.
I don't believe the Big Bang Theory. I'm just saying, I'm putting both of them together.
You're talking about fish turning into humans.
No, I'm saying if God created us, who'd say that he didn't create them, wiped them out, created this creature, wiped them out, created the mammals, man, wiped out the big, okay, this time I'm wiping them out with the Ice Age, okay? Man survived. Okay, now here's modern man. And all the other animals, go towards
man. I'm just saying, and current man are totally different from what they are in the fossil records. They're totally different.
What? I was yapping.
No. Ice Age man to modern human in the fossil record is like totally different. They're not even.
They're not vastly different. They're still human-like, yeah, and you can definitely tell that they are early humans. So that kind of like makes the theory of evolution fall short. Wow, we have went really far with this topic.
Yep, we got real quick before we change it. The one thing about the Bible and all that, what you're saying, the Book of Enoch.
That is good.
Man took out of the Bible the Book of Enoch. You ever read the Book of Enoch?
Yes.
No, because it doesn't exist. You can't read the Book of Enoch. It was like annihilated thousands of years ago. Does not even exist. No, the true Book of Enoch.
Get ready to hit the boot because that Enoch is some scary shit. I'm sorry for the language.
I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure wasn't the Book of Enoch part of the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Yeah, we have a little bit of it.
That was removed.
Enoch is the fallen angels, and Enoch was supposed to be a good.
He was human.
Enoch was not the fallen angels. Enoch was a man who was godly, a saint, and
Hmm?
then there's like this other secondary story that says
The
that he was
Nephilim.
pulled to heaven, became an angel, and he
No,
became the archangel Metatron.
I don't
Mhm.
know about that. All I know, Enoch was a man like Moses. Enoch walked with God. Enoch was the only human to see the face of God. Plus,
Mhm.
Enoch totally never died. He just risen into heaven.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what I have read,
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm.
The
But
Nephilim, I think
but
the Nephilim
he
are
was.
the angel and people mixtures that I think
Wow,
you
the
were talking about,
crazy
Chad.
stuff we're going to talk about. Imagine
I
it.
know,
Yeah,
I know.
the full
Actually, I wanted
mystery.
to kind of bring it back down to the Bigfoot, because I last week I was talking about a video that I thought was really compelling, and I said I'd bring it this week, so I did.
Okay,
And I wanted to kind of share it amongst all of us. Ezra's laughing. I wanted to kind of share it amongst all of us and kind of see your thoughts on it, Bob, and see what you thought about it, Chad, because this is one of the more compelling pieces of footage that I've seen. Very hard to, edit and fake. So I'll play it now, and so we can speak over it. We're gonna unmute. So it's coming now.
okay.
I don't see what we look like.
There's a creature on the ground over there.
Oh yeah, okay. Now I see something. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of coming over the.
Just through the tree.
Checks a whole tree, just like underhands it.
I believe it.
They give you even clearer video. And you can see the tree bounce.
Yeah, I think this is legitimate.
And I think they do a close up here. So that video was actually sent out by Matt D. It was recorded in 2015, and it's been analyzed and reanalyzed, and that was actually reposted by Squatch Mafia on YouTube. So, what do you think about that, Bob? It's pretty compelling video, I think.
I think it's legitimate. Yeah, I do. Because it put, like you said, 2015. I mean, AI was out there, but that video is too realistic. I think it's real.
Yeah, it's pretty grainy, and it's hard to really add something to that type of fog that we were looking through in a video.
That,
Especially anything that's digitally edited. They'd have
well,
to really
again,
work hard to put all that fog over top of that visual they're putting in.
10 years ago, the video technology on the cell phones aren't as good as they are now.
Yeah,
So I think it's legit.
yeah. It's
What
like
is
one of my favorite pieces of footage I think I've come across, aside from the Patty footage. Chad, what did you think about that?
I think there's something out there. I don't know what the heck it is. There's something out there. It's not faked. Whether they faked it's okay. I can't say it's not faked. Whether they like fake something out there's definitely something out there. It is old grainy video footage, but there's definitely something in the frame, and it can be what it is.
So I
I
think
I
love
I
it.
think
got
I love
the.
the mystery, Gwendolyn. I love the mystery.
Go ahead, Bob. Yes.
no, I think it's legit. I mean, for years to say that they're that strong that they can do that. Come on, they take a tree as big as he's throwing, pull it out of the ground, and then stick it back in the ground upside down. There's a topic, tree structures. I believe in them, but I don't think everything you see is a tree structure. Not every bent tree, especially not to get off your topic. The TP structures, I got great pictures of some of those, but the ones you see, like you see a trunk or tree, and then you see like a stack of sticks that's only 2-3 foot tall, stick out. If we're seeing it, other humans been there.
Not necessarily.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, some places that I go, there hasn't been people in like years. But I agree what you're saying. I agree what you're saying with the structure. I really totally agree. But what you look for is if you find a structure, you look around. And if you find multiple around, then you consider it. But stuff happens. Trees fall all the time, man.
Right.
Amazing things that I knew were natural, but a Bigfoot person would love to take a picture of it and say a Bigfoot did it.
There you go. People taking pictures. People say, "Why did you take a picture?" Well, actually, it takes a couple seconds to get your cell phone set up, and big is the shock and awe factor. The first factor is the shock and awe. You see it, you're like, you're not thinking of pictures, So, and when you're going to do it, everybody's saying they're in and out. So by the time you try to focus, find it, and then click, one thousand. But all right, we're almost done here. Gwendolyn, what's your thoughts? What? This is your show.
Oh yeah. Well, we're near the hour mark. But I think we've had a pretty solid, amazing conversation. I loved hearing about, some of your experiences. I don't think I'd heard your first experience quite that in depth before, so that was really cool to get to hear.
I loved it.
I haven't even talked about how many things I've been paralleled, walking the trails, especially in Waterloo, walking the trails and being paralleled, But, I've had a lot of weird things happen to me.
Well, we're actually allowed to run a few minutes over if we want. We can run over as long as we want, but I don't want to because I know we got a baby on the way. We know Gwendolyn's probably hungry because look at her. She's starving to death. But
so hungry.
We had a great question from our biggest fan, Ezra. And do you want to read it, Gwendolyn?
Yeah. So I think it's actually more of like a statement. It says the Book of Enoch is considered apocryphal, which means it's outside of the official Bible. But by most Christian denominations, it's actually a collection of writings, not just one book. And that is a great statement, Ezra. That is very
accurate. Exclamation.
Yes.
I love it.
And on that, real quick before we get out of here, I was baptized Catholic, and I always thought myself as Christian. Do you know why Catholics and the Protestants fight? Even though we're all Christians, and I think it's, but it's because the Catholics read out of other books besides the Bible. They don't read strictly the Bible. That's basically it. I ain't going to touch on the Catholic priest. I don't care about that. But that's the main reason. That's a different point of view, even though they all say they're Christians. So, personally, we're not going to get off. But there's part of the Bible. Didn't it say where Jesus walked for, I don't know, from like what, since he was like a teenager till he was like 30 before he returned? And most other religions, what do you call the encryptions or whatever on cave walls here in America of a white man, brown hair, white robe? And when was that? Over 2,000 years ago. Jesus, I wonder who that was. And isn't every religion basically based on love and trust?
Yeah.
Who preached that more than anybody else?
I don't think that there is one way, to live a good Christian life. I think that there are multiple denominations out there as a way to do it. It just depends on how committed and solid you are in that.
well, we're born to sin. You just gotta stay positive and do your best, and hope and pray for forgiveness.
Right, exactly.
Dude, you ready
Well,
for our adventure that's coming up? We're gonna do something here
oh
in
yeah,
about
I'm
a month and a
super
half.
stoked.
Yeah.
Super stoked to get to investigate with you, Bob.
Oh, that'd be fun. We still got to decide what we're going to do.
No, I just hope you can keep up, man.
Oh, and the colors might be kind of late in season, but
All we need you to keep
the
up,
colors are going to be phenomenal.
Robert. You'll
What?
be all fine.
That's going home to me. Going up there is going home. So even though I was going to Toledo, Ray, Cincinnati, I spent too much time up there. Yeah, second home. But
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time.
We'll
Yeah,
see
we'll
you in
have
the
to-
special chat, bro.
what happened to Sherry? Sherry's going to be a good time up there. She knows that area very well.
Why
Oh,
can't you
yeah.
bring Sherry up? Dang it.
Sherry's amazing.
I could bring somebody else up, and I ain't going to do that. But, and I do hope to see Todd. I think he'll enjoy it up there.
Todd will be
Yeah.
there.
So,
We got rid of the Trump hater. Well, he got rid of himself. We
All
didn't
right,
even have
no
to get rid of him.
politics.
yeah, please don't take me there. Please don't take me there.
And we didn't get rid of him. He got rid of himself. He decided
Exactly.
to remove himself.
I'm sorry. I'm opinionated. I don't want to go there.
No, we're not talking politics. Gwendolyn, lay
No
down low.
politics. Well, Bob, my brother
Yeah.
from another mother, I am excited to get to investigate with you coming up, and in the future, just watch our lives, join in the discussion, and we'll be seeing each other soon. I'll be riding with you.
Yeah, and
Okay.
tune into the next episode. We're gonna have a great guest, Bob.
Hey,
Robert.
man, I subscribed before you even hit the airwaves. Can I say that?
Yep.
Before you hit the internet, there you go. The wire.
I'll post all your questions in our next show. I promise.
I was being silly last time. Yeah.
No,
before
you're cool.
bye.
All right.
Get to meet you,
It's good
talk to
talking
you.
with you. We'll see you soon, Bob.